Hello, my loves. Welcome to April's energy update. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to get through. I am on all the places. So I am on YouTube. I am on Facebook. I am on TikTok. And this information is being spread far and wide because April is going to be a bumpy ride. April is going to be some intense energy, but intense does not always mean bad. Okay. So welcome to April's energy update. I am Johanna Burkhardt. For those of you who are new to me or just finding me, I am a multidimensional channel. I am a medium. I am so many of the other human names that we give ourselves, but I'm here to help you go from where you are to where you want to be, from surviving to thriving, and to really step into feeling safe inside of yourself, trusting yourself, loving yourself. At the end of the day, the only thing standing in the way from you having all of your dreams come true, all of your potential, all of the money, all of the things that you desire, the relationship, all of it, your purpose being revealed, your mission being revealed, all of it is the density of the programming that lies within you. The things that you struggle and survive. The only thing standing in the way are those dense programmings. And with this energy of April, a lot of people are calling it the resurrection energy, right? Because it's Easter. It has a lot of context in relation to Jesus, Master Jesus, and all of that. And there is truth to that, but I call it the redirection energy because I find that redirection is a better word for us to use with this. It's more open, right? It's less constricting. Resurrection sounds like painful, right? It sounds like rebirth. And while some of us will be going through a rebirth, this is a redirection, right? This is a divine intervention. This is you coming to the end of a very large karmic cycle and having newfound clarity of what is serving in your life and what isn't, what is standing between you and your potential. So before we dive into the energy, I have some notes to drop me back into those streams of consciousness on my board. So don't worry about if you can't read the board. That's more for me than anything else. But before I dive into that, I want to talk for a moment about frequency and just give you a very brief, hopefully grounded perspective of what I'm talking about because of what I'm going to go into. I really want you guys to understand this. A little bit of throat chakra clearing here. Hold on. A drink of water. So frequency, or what most consider dark and light, right? This is your frequency bandwidth. Dark, we'll say, is over here, and light, we'll say, over here. Density, crystalline energy. If you notice, I didn't say dark frequency, light frequency. It's all the same. And I know a lot of people struggle with this, that it isn't fear, it's fear and love, it's dark and light. It's different spectrums of the same frequency, like a seesaw. What about the seesaw doesn't change? Seesaw, when two children get on it, or even one, right? It goes up and down. It goes back and forth. It fluctuates. But there's one part of this that doesn't, and it's the center. It's the 0 point. It's the heart, right? Everything revolves around our heart. Like that 8 frequency that everybody's so familiar with, right? It all interweaves through that heart. Just as the planets and the sun and everything rotates around the earth. We are a sentient being just as earth is a sentient being. And everything rotates around and through her the same way it rotates around and through us. We are connected to Mother Earth. Our electromagnetic frequencies connect when our bare feet touch that ground, right? When we're walking, we are connected to her. So when she is receiving photonic light, which a lot of people connect to the Schumann resonance, right? When that photonic light comes in, whatever is no longer, whatever is residual, right? Whatever needs to come out and release, we feel that, and it's shown to us in the Schumann resonance. It's like an acid reflux, right? It's like, here's what's no longer serving me. It pushes it up. We begin to feel nauseous. We begin to feel ascension symptoms, because when that's coming up out of her, when she's releasing whatever karmic energy from all time and space, because remember, time is a concept that the humans created. It is not universal law. We created time. It doesn't really exist. So whenever that kickback is coming up from Earth, from the Schumann, from the frequency that she has now ingested and embodied, we then also feel that kickback. That's why we can feel vertigo when we can feel nauseous. And that is us going, oh, this is pushing, vending those dense emotions from the lower chakra system. It's vending it up to our heart space, and it's saying, knock, knock, knock. Are you going to open all the doors and windows? Are you going to let the light in? Are you going to allow yourself to feel this so that you can transmute it and open up to the higher perspective, the redirection, the bigger vision, the simplicity, the clarity, all of the things that everybody is seeking? How do I get there? How do I make the money? How do I call in the relationship? How do I heal my trauma? So I wanted you guys to start with this base understanding. And for some of you, this might be a quantum teaching where you're like, I don't believe this, and that is okay. Listen, your truth is your truth. My truth is my truth. It's all the same of one truth, right? We have one truth, and everybody has a different perspective of that one truth. It's how you view it through your lens, and your lens is made up of your wounding, your programming, your belief systems. So it's okay for us to be different. It's okay for you to not resonate with everything I say. That is okay. It is safe to do that. So take what resonates, leave the rest. And please, by all means, if you find value in my information I share abundantly here on these broadcasts, please share it out and spread that abundance, expand that abundance. So it is a redirection. We have 3 major themes. If you know how I read energy for these updates, this is going to be familiar to you. But the 3 themes this month is stalled energy, it's a crossroads, and it's the integration leading the self. What I will tell you is the month of April is going to be an energy of intensity that builds upon each day. And that can sound scary. That can invoke fear. That can be like, oh my God, it's going to be all the feels and my life's going to be chaotic. Yes, it could be that. But intensity, as I said in the very beginning, does not always mean bad. It means it's intense. Intense means it's potent, it's strong, it's felt. And we are being guided into this energy because it's what's in the highest and best for all. And the highest and best is never going to be the easy way. It's never going to be the most comfortable. It is never going to be the magic pill, the right answer. Highest and best is what is standing between you and the potential that you are asking to receive. Highest and best is going to be the shortcut. And oftentimes, if you've ever walked through a forest or a park or anywhere really, and you're like, I'm going to take a shortcut. Maybe you get scratched up from the branches because you're having to create a path that doesn't exist. Maybe you're having to navigate through a crowd of people and it can be confusing, but you know if you just keep going, you're going to get there 3 hours faster. So remember that when you ask for your highest and best, when you say, Spirit, this is what I want, guide me, lead me, show me the way, they're going to give you the shortcut. And that shortcut is going to feel like the wrong path. Sometimes it's going to, not the wrong path, they're saying that's not the right word. It's going to feel like the hard path. Okay. It's going to feel like the hard path. So we have quite a few energies stepping forward right now as I can feel them coming in. We have the ninth dimensional Pleiadians coming in, and we have the ancients coming in, as well as the Galactic Federation of Light. So they'll be bringing in their 2 cents as we go through this as well. So the first energy is stalled, and that's what we're in right now. And the stalled energy, it can feel like non-movement. It can feel like almost like we're going 10 steps back. It can feel like the energy in the collective that things are getting worse. Like if you're someone who still watches the news or pays attention to alternative news or just sees with your own eyes the kind of things that are going on in the collective, in our human existence, it can feel like, oh my God, things are getting worse. They're going backwards. There's going more rules, more restrictions, more limitations, more craziness, more things that you watch and you're like, what? Like, this doesn't even make sense. A lot of things that are making you question what's really happening here. And this intensity is going to keep building, and that is going to be seen collectively through governments and private agencies. It's going to feel like we're being more restricted. It's going to feel like there's more ridiculous rules. There's going to feel like that there's more nonsense and that it's getting worse and not better. But I'm going to tell you why that's happening. And I just had this conversation with a friend the other day, because she as well was feeling the intensity building. She's feeling that there's something. So many people are like, oh my God, something big is happening, right? Something big is happening. I can feel it. I know it's coming. I'm just waiting for this huge bubble to burst. And whether that bubble bursts or not, and something actually pans out of any of these things is to be determined. But people always ask me, why? Why is this happening? And the reason is because the only way to wake up millions of people, and by awake, I mean to become aware of the truth the one truth that has always been available to you, to the frequencies that are surrounding you that you're not seeing, feeling, hearing, sensing, to the truth. And that's why for my image for this month, I use the owl, because the owl is my main spirit guide. And the owl has the ability to turn its head 360 degrees. And it also has the ability to see through the dark. It sees clearly in the dark. So in order to shake and wake people up in the world to the truth of what's really going on, not the distractions like the Nike snafu, right? So many people jumped on that distraction. These are distractions. Look at me, look how this is so outlandish and so crazy that you're going to draw your attention to it, so that what's happening for what's really going on that they don't want you to see is buried. No one's paying attention to it, because we put out a big shiny distraction over here to take your attention. You see how that works? They use manipulation and mind control. Another thing that I was just telling a private client on before I got on here, we were talking about, and a lot of you out here who are in the spiritual world or who are coaches or healers that are in business for yourself, you'll relate to this, is we were discussing how I had one launch that did extremely well and one launch that didn't. And the difference of those two launches was, one, I sold them what they thought they needed while teaching them what they actually needed. I manipulated, because manipulation can be used for good or bad. I manipulated the sales page to reflect what people think they need, what people think they want: more money, a loved one, the relationship, the potential, all of that. And they'll get all of that, but they got to do the work to do it. They have to go through the fire. They got to walk through the darkness. They have to be a shadow walker. They have to walk into their uncertainty, their fear, their unknown, face it bravely, open their heart, let that light in and alchemize it, and see that door that was cracked and trickling in that money and trickling in that love and trickling in those ideas and the inspiration, Now the door is freaking gone. So we just remove the whole door and just have this big, beautiful opening. But the only way that most people come in is through the manipulation of sales tactics of getting your attention. So the second launch, I said, let's do this as an experiment. Let me just be straight up and say, this is going to heal X, Y, and Z, and we're going to do it this way. Crickets. Both courses teach similar things. One, I spoke to what people think from an egoic space, what they wanted. And the other was me just being blunt and saying, this is what it is. Both courses will get you there, but it's a tactic, right? It's a way of marketing or manipulating so that people will be drawn to it. This isn't something that not every single person out there has used at some point, except the government or media or both, or however you want to label all of this. They're really experts because we, the people, are the commodity. We are the employees. We are the commodity. And their job is to show us the distraction or to show us what we think we want to hear so that we won't see the truth. And so we won't be empowered to actually do something. So in order for us to break free of the manipulation, of the mind control, in order for us to be free, sovereign beings that we actually are, we have to be pressurized to a point to where people are saying, I can't do this anymore. I am not going to buy in to this BS anymore. I know that that's a distraction. I know that this is not real. I know that this is a bunch of BS. I can see through. I may not know what it actually is. I may not know the actual truth, but what I do know is that my intuition is telling me that this is all going to be okay. I just have to be observant and notice when the fears inside of me arise, when I feel a trigger, that I can be thankful for whatever's happening in the world that's triggering me, because that trigger is a vending machine. It's saying that there's something that is available in me to be healed. And it's going to bring it up. And as it gets closer and closer to the heart, it's going to be more intense and it's going to feel stronger and it's going to feel unbearable at times for some people. It's going to feel like your world's falling apart. The more intense, the closer it is to your heart. And all you have to do is open the doors and windows and let the light in. Because if you're in a dark space, doing this, looking for the light switch, you're so focused on seeking, you can't receive. You cannot seek and receive at the same time. You have to surrender. So you sit down in the dark room and you say, this is where I am in this moment. I'm in it. I'm in the thick of it. I'm feeling the intensity, the uncertainty, the fear, the unknown. And I'm just going to surrender and know that the inside of me, I am safe because I will be able to handle whatever comes my way. I am being guided to return to the safety of my being. I am being guided to return to my love and compassion, to not further bully, berate, and beat myself up, and instead nurture myself, love myself, be present with myself, allow myself to feel it. That term, you feel it to heal it, is that freaking simple. Because you're not afraid of anything. You're afraid to feel everything, on the other hand. So as we're going through the first part of this month, and actually really this whole month is intense. So as you're going through the month and you're seeing the craziness, whether it's in your own little world, where relationships are falling away, where things are being upheavaled, where maybe clients are falling away, or you're losing a job, or you lose your place to live, or whatever happens, whatever is asking to fall away, whatever's happening, you can observe it. This is why I teach the 4 frequencies, which is a part of my life's mission, Those frequencies aren't just words. They're packed with cosmic information. They help with the integration process. These words that I teach in the 4 frequencies, you saying those words downloads a ton of cosmic information that helps you to integrate. It helps you to move through the process of alchemizing your density into light, because that's what ascension is. It's the process of going from carbon to crystalline, bringing the light and embodying it and transforming that density so our whole bodies are light. Our whole entire bodies hold all of the information from every single life, timeline, existence that we are in simultaneously. It is all within us. So anytime that you are in the present moment and you're feeling your emotions and you're nurturing yourself and you're alchemizing it and you're holding space for yourself and you're standing in your power and you're speaking your truth, you are healing that exact energy from all time and space that it ever happened in. This is the gift we're being given this month. Isn't that huge? That's huge. So stalled. This is the energy of control, urgency, lack, feeling like things are getting worse. When we feel stuck, when we feel like nothing's moving, when we feel like there's no progress, we want to control. I got to get a grip. I got to seek. I got to find the answers. I got to hold on to everything. We heal it through patience. Patience. Don't jump. Don't react. Be present with what's happening. And once you get into a neutral space, then and only then, that neutrality is when you've opened all the doors and windows of your heart. And once you've come into your heart, that is the 0 point, that is the neutral space. Now you're in a neutral space where you could care less if it stays or if it goes. But now that you've let the light in, now you can have clarity about why that thing happened, why it was happening for you. So you have to be patient. You have to be present. Intuition. Once you're patient and present and you've let the light in, now you can have the guidance that you're seeking, the clarity that you're seeking from that. You've let the light in, so now you're going to see things differently. You're going to see things clearly. Boundaries. Again, if you don't know the true meaning of boundaries, go through my YouTube videos. I share it in multiple ways. Boundaries are not a fence. They are what you will tolerate, what you won't, what you like, what you don't, what you will put up with, what you won't, what you want to, how you want to operate in your life, how you don't, what your values are and your virtues. They are the boundaries. It is the structure that allows your energy to flow. If you don't have good boundaries, you're basically a swimming pool with a shit ton of holes. Your energy will never be sustained. Your abundance will never be sustained. You will always be feeling like it's never enough. Language and tone. This has to do with Mercury, okay? So the energy that's coming off of Mercury this month is kind of all over the place. It's going through some major changes and navigations this month. As I've mentioned many times, I read the energy of the planets. I communicate with the planets. I am not an astrologer. If you're looking for astrology-based information, it's not me. I communicate with the planets. It's different. So what Mercury has been sharing is language and tone. So especially the first few weeks of this month, but really keep this tone throughout the whole entire month, is how you say things. So if you're someone who's been triggering a lot of people lately, or on the opposite, being triggered, this is because a lot of people are in the energy of coldness. And coldness means there's no warmth, there's no grace, there's no charm school, there's no consideration of how another person is going to take that information. It's blunt. They're just saying it how it is in a matter-of-fact way that's really detached. It's there's no emotional care. It's not there's no compassion. There's no human energy in it. It's very matter-of-fact, and it can be very, very triggering. Very triggering. So if you know this, one, you can be in that observer role. And as somebody's speaking, if you're present, That means you're not in your head trying to come up with a comeback. You're not in your head feeling the defense, ready to attack or defend yourself. You're listening deeply, and you're hearing every word they're saying, and you're reading the energy, and you will be able to tell this person is just being blunt, is just being matter of fact. It's not about me. It's not personal. Most people don't really know the truth of you anyway, right? And so for those that do know, like your significant others, your best friends, your parents that know more than the average person, they may step into this energy too. And it may be a projection of their own burdens, of their own pain, of their own wounding that they're going through that they don't know how to communicate because they are emotionally unavailable. I mean, they're not in touch with their emotions. If you're not in touch with your emotions, that means that you cannot connect the belief to where it lives in your, to how you respond and how it reacts in your body. When you're emotionally available, you allow yourself to feel and you express how something is affecting you. Not in the moment, right? After you've had neutrality and clarity about it. But so what we want to do here is be very mindful of what you are wanting to say to another person before you say it. Really being attuned to what's about to come out of your mouth and how you're about to say it. And I still have moments of this where it will come out and I read it back before I send the text message, or I listen to the way I spoke it when I do an audio clip and I go, oh, I'm really not bringing the human aspect. I'm really not bringing this from all of my energy. I'm just spouting it out matter of fact. And so I have to invest my energy into that conversation a little bit, bring in my warmth, bring in my compassion, open my heart, let it settle and say, how can I say this to that person where I'm standing in my power? I'm speaking my truth still, but I'm not coming from an arrogant or burdensome place. I'm not invoking the energies of shame, guilt, burden onto the next person. I'm feeling my own issues and then saying, how can I respond from a place of neutrality? How can I respond from a place of grace? How can I respond from a place of warmth? Because grace means we, right? Grace, that means many things, but part of grace is, it's like charm school. Before you just say it, can you consider how that person's going to take that energy? Because your words are empty without intentions behind them. So the intentions are going to come through your subconscious filled with guilt, shame, right? Abandonment, burdensome, or your words are going to come through from a place of love and compassion. I'm saying this from a place of love, that this is how I want to be treated. Or when you act this way, when you do this action, I receive it. I feel taking ownership of that this way. And it may not be how you're meaning to, but this is how I am interpreting it. This is the energy I am feeling. Letting them know from that place. So if you're on the receiving end, it's you taking it in from a place of observation, being present. And again, not listening to the story in your head that you want to come up with a comeback. You're not listening if you're doing that. If you're already on the energy of defense, what you're going to say next to defend yourself, you're not being present. You're not listening. Listening means you're hearing them at a deep level. You're not in your head with a comeback already. So many people, oh, I'm listening. No, you're not. If you're in your head while someone's talking to you, you're not listening. You're hearing them, but you're not listening with your heart, with all of you. So be present. And before you speak, think, how is my energy? Where am I coming from? And if someone is cold to you or abrupt to you, remember this conversation and don't take it personally. But if you feel the need to say, I'm not going to be treated this way, or I don't appreciate you speaking to me that way, then do it from a neutral place. Do it from a place of, I'm going to feel my emotions. I'm going to feel my trigger. And when I come into that 0 point, when I've let all the light into my heart and I've let this energy sit, now I have clarity and I can speak from a very graceful place. I can be the change. And instead of spouting back and doing this tit for tat anger to anger, sadness to sadness, wound to wound, bleeding on someone, throwing that blood back on them, right? Cutting someone, then, bleeding on the other person, however you want to say it. Instead, you can take whatever they're giving and you can transmute it and you can return it from a place of how you want to be treated, because you're always teaching people how to treat you by how you treat yourself or how you allow yourself to be treated. Very important. Okay. So this is how you're going to navigate a lot of this energy. As we come into the middle of the month, we're going to start to experience some of the cosmos. So the middle of the month is going to be a crossroads, the X. This is where the spiral either keeps spiraling or it loops and you replay the same thing over a different way. So for the spiral to keep going, it's got to break free of the original loop and create a new loop and create a new loop and create a new loop, right? Well, you probably won't see it anyway. But if you choose, when you hit that crossroads, to go with the comfortable path, even though that comfortable path is comfort, is misery, right? Some people are very comfortable in their misery because at least they know how it's going to be. At least they know that if they just go on unemployment, that they're going to get money every month, or if they just get the job every month, they're going to get that. It's miserable, but it's accountable, right? They feel like they can count on it. They feel like they're putting their safety outside of themselves. But when you're on that path and you're like, oh, cozy, comfy job, easy, not stretching me, not outside my comfort zone. At the crossroads, there's another path. This one's uncertain. It's uncomfortable. It's a little scary. I might look unresponsible. God, I don't want to keep doing this, but it's the responsible thing to do. It's what my parents would be proud of. It's what I should do. It's easy. I can live on autopilot. I'm just going to do it again. I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it with a new attitude. I'm going to do it a different way. Well, you can keep doing the same thing a different way, and you still aren't going to go anywhere. You're just going to keep experiencing the same wounding, the same limiting belief, the same health condition, the same whatever, over and over again in different ways from different people until you get sick of it and decide this uncomfortable way, this uncertainty, the one that's going to push me outside my comfort zone, it's looking real good right now because I'm beyond sick of this other way. And you can see that happening in the collective right now, and why we have had to have things play out a certain way than what many people thought was going to, because there wasn't enough people ready and able to take that new road. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, look at all this money that's coming in for free. Look at how I can't really do anything, but at least I don't have to get off my couch type of energy is happening. Now people are comfortably in their misery, bitching on Facebook or all the things, doing the same thing over and over again. I'll sit here and preach and yell and point out everything that's wrong, but I'm not going to become the change. I'm not going to get off my butt and show up every single day trying to be the best version that I know I can be, to embody the beliefs and the characteristics and the values and the virtues of the person who can sustain the wealth and the love and the life that you are desiring. That means you got to break your boundaries and you got to stretch your container and you got to build new ones. And that just doesn't sound fun for people, right? I'm just going to be honest here. I've been in both positions. So crossroads means controls or contracts are ending. Now remember, time is fluid. So you may already be at your crossroads right now, and some may experience this in the middle of the month, and some may experience this at the end of the month. It depends on your journey and your evolution. I'm reading it in a general overview perspective, okay? So contracts are ending. That means relationships. You're going to see death. You're going to see divorce. You're going to see weird things happening. You're going to see blow-ups with friendships. You're going to see all of, things that aren't serving you anymore. So if that's a job, if that's a pet, if that's a person, if that's your home, whatever it is, everything is contracted. Before you incarnated on this human existence, you got together with all kinds of people and you said, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do this. Now, the free will part is how they do it, right? Divine will says they're going to be an obstacle. They're going to provide a challenge for you. Your free will is how you respond or react. And I'm going to do a whole nother video on divine will versus free will, because I've had, over the past couple of months, I've had a lot of downloads on a deeper, wider perspective and understanding of these teachings. So that'll be another video that you guys can look forward to. So you've already set all these into motion. And when that contract's up, when that lesson is up, when you've had your time and energy from it, that contract is going to end. Now, sometimes you can overstay your welcome in contracts that were supposed to end 2 years ago or 2 months ago. And you'll notice when that's happening is that relationship just isn't getting any better. It's just getting worse and worse. And you're feeling more trapped, and you're feeling more burdened, and you're feeling more unstable or uncertain or unsafe than you were. It just keeps getting worse. So when you've overstayed your welcome in a contract out of fear, that's when we start manifesting external things in our reality that make us go, oh my God, I have to end this. I have to leave. Especially if you're in a relationship with two people that are in a trauma bond or who are very codependent upon each other. One's going to have a deep fear of walking away. The other one's going to have a deep fear of walking away for another reason. And you stay stuck, you drowned each other, right? Safety is buoyancy. When you feel safe inside of yourself, you're going to float to the surface and surrender immediately when you let go. But if you don't feel safe inside of yourself, you're going to be grabbing on to anybody and anything you can find, and it's going to drown you, and you're going to take it with you. So if something's asking you to let go of it, let go. Let go. You're not going to know what's coming next. It may be scary as all hell, but do it. Let go. Okay. New beginnings available. So you're really not going to see the new contracts, the new relationships, new stuff coming in until more towards the end of the month. But this middle of the month, this is going to be the peak of the intensity. It doesn't mean it still won't be intense the rest of the month, but the intensity is going to be peak somewhere in the middle of the month. So on the April 11th, we have a new moon in Aries. This is very conflicting energy, very conflicting, meaning it's like, is this the truth or is this the truth? Am I supposed to go this way or that way, right? Very conflicting, but also catalyzing, because it's going to be so intense. It's going to be pressurizing you to make a decision, to make a choice, to choose. And if you aren't in the energy of discernment through the details, if you're not listening to your intuition and sitting with it and not reacting to it, you may react. You may say, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. I'm just going to choose so that I don't have to feel it. Well, that's okay, but you will repeat it. You will repeat it. It's easier and faster to stop, to feel it, to sit in it for just a moment, to make peace with what is in this moment, and then make a decision based upon the details. So how do we navigate this crossroads? Through discernment, through details, divine intervention, and the phoenix, letting go, rising, allowing the ashes to be the wisdom that you build the next stepping stone for. As my guides lovingly came in and said recently, when you let go of the story and you let go of the blame, only wisdom remains. When you burn something down, what is left? A lot of people think it's ashes. It's nothing. Wrong. It's the fertilizer. It's everything. You can't have the new growth without the wisdom of what you just let go of. Because you're just letting go of the limits. You're letting go of the density, and all that remains is clarity. It's the fertilizer that's going to help the new thing grow. So discernment through details is, oh my God, here are my options. Here are my crossroads. I could go this way and this way. Let me take a closer look. Let me look at the freaking fine print. If I go this way, really, what is available to me? What's the pros? What's the cons? What's the fears? What's the potential? Like, get freaking real about it. Aren't you isn't your life, isn't your journey worthy of taking this time to really be invested in what's best for you and for all involved and connected to you? Because it starts with you, right? But this journey is never just about you. It's for you. It's for me. It's for us. So highest and best for all means this is what feels good to me. It will also benefit those around me who are in relationship to me, especially when you're considering significant others, children, things like that. And it's also going to, if it's beneficial for me and for them, it's going to be beneficial for everybody. But if what you're doing is only beneficial to you and you're like, I don't give an F what happens or how anybody else feels about it, well, then it's definitely not serving you either. Because that's very egoic. That's very limiting and restricting. When you do something that is also benefits you, but it also benefits other people, it's a win-win. It's a balanced energy. So get nitty-gritty into the details. Divine intervention. Again, this kind of goes into divine will versus free will. You all have a divine path. You created it before you incarnated. You set up your obstacles, your potentials, your limits, everything, your gifts. It's all there as guideposts for you. So if you are far off your track, if you're far off your path, divine will is going to come in and it's going to pull that rug out from underneath you and wake your butt up and go, hello, you're meant to be over there. And it's not going to feel like that. It's not a damn email that comes in going, excuse me, you have navigated the wrong way. It's abrupt. It's the rug pulled out. It's the husband or wife that leaves. It's the job that gets fired for no reason. It's the car accident. It's the illness. It's whatever. That thing, whatever negative thing happens to you or positive thing happens to you is a gift. Again, a limit, a lack, a block is the very thing standing between you and your potential of your desires. So when you hit it, you can be like, yes. Okay, this is what's in my way. All I got to do is lean into that and be with it. Because if I feel it and I allow it into my heart and I let the light in, I'm going to be able to alchemize it really fast and I'm going to be able to understand it. Understand why it's happening and why it happened for me. We don't see it as a good thing. We see it as, oh my God, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to be in that upheaval. I don't want to do that. That doesn't feel good. Of course it doesn't feel good. I just went through 2 days of intense grief, crying, being angry. And I knew when I was triggered. And I was like, I'm triggered right now. And I'm going to feel this. It doesn't feel good. But I'm going to feel it. And I'm going to nurture myself. And I'm going to hug myself. And I'm going to say, it's okay. I'm with you. I'm not going to abandon you. Because we often pick up right where our parents left off or whoever our perpetrators were in our life. And we continue to berate ourselves and shame ourselves and guilt ourselves and go through this ridiculous cycle over and over again based upon the programming of the first 7 years of our life. Any of my courses, you guys, especially Unity or Reclamation, will guide you through all of that I'm saying. And you'll learn the 4 frequencies and all of that. So I know some of you are like, how do I learn all this? It's available for you. So you're going to let go. You're going to let the phoenix rise. Okay. So we have the new moon in Aries around this time. Again, this is when the redirection begins. This is also the next day. So on the 11th is the new moon in Aries. Remember, new moon, full moon, always three days before, 3 days after. So it's always a 6-day event for the moon energy when you begin to feel it. The Galactic Return is on the 12th. This is just the sun coming back around. It travels through the Milky Way. It's coming back to its starting point. So we're going through a Galactic Return. So again, it's now we're going through. Remember I said new beginnings available. We're turning the tide. The sun is beginning to go again, and it's going to begin to shine light on the opposite side. So it's going to bring in the other perspective, that redirection, the other side. We have a full moon in Scorpio on the 26th. And this is about the time when the integration is going to begin. This is about, the Scorpio full moon is about infusing our passion, our energy, the wisdom from the ashes of that phoenix rising into what we want. So as we're integrating it, we're starting to get really clear about what we want. And we're starting to take all of that residual energy, anything that remains, any of those ashes, and we're injecting it into ourselves and saying, this is my fuel to where I want to go. Okay. So integration is the final theme, leading thyself, right? So this is about new connections being formed through the integration process, new ideas, new communities, thinking creatively and outside of the box. Integration, the easiest way to know if you're integrating something or have integrated something is once you've integrated it, you won't be in judgment of it anymore. You won't have a judgment of others who are in it. You won't be triggered by it. That means you've completely integrated it. Another way is, if I've taught you something, let's say you were in my course Reclamation and you went through it and you received it, right? You listened to it, you watched the videos, but you didn't do the exercises. And if you did, you have to ask them. And you're like, yeah, this is great information, but I don't want to actually practice it every single day. Because the most spiritual thing we can do is be human. So I don't want to take these tools that she just taught me and integrate them into my everyday life. Okay? Then you'll have a knowing and awareness, but you will never embody it. And in order for us to ascend, right, our bodies are what's ascending, we have to take the light, take the crystalline information, and move it into our heart and into our lower selves, into our physical selves, the lower three chakras, the physical body, by integrating the new beliefs, letting go of the old and creating new and programming those, by having new emotional responses, by being in the present energy, and by changing the action, new actions, newfound safety, newfound trust in yourself. So when you've taken a practice or a teaching, or even a channeling, if you're someone who channels like I do, you take that information and you can know it and you can regurgitate it all day long. But until you make it a part of your everyday practice to where you do it automatically, like brushing your teeth or eating food or driving a car, you haven't integrated it. It needs to become an automatic response in your system, a new muscle memory. And once it becomes a new muscle memory, you won't be triggered by somebody who's doing it. You won't be in judgment or picking on or criticizing or trying to prove someone who's thinking differently than you. You won't fight with those persons anymore. You won't even care to share your perspective. You might offer it, but if they don't want it, you're like, all right, whatever, I don't care. You will be judgment free. You will be you will be trigger free of that particular situation. Now, remember, this is a journey. We're meant to do this over our entire lifespan. Sometimes this is why we come back and do this so many times. So if you think that you've embodied a teaching or have integrated a teaching or a belief or a new emotional frequency, the only way to truly know is if you're no longer in judgment of it and you're no longer triggered by it. It means you have to actually do the work day in and day out, not carving 20 minutes to meditate and being like, that was my spiritual practice of the day. No. It's why I teach the way that I do, because I want to give you the frequency, the tools, the communication ways of communicating with yourself so that when you're in a heated situation with your spouse or with a client or with a friend or with a stranger at the supermarket, you have a whole nother situation happening inside of you that's going, breathe. Let's walk ourselves through this step. You can do it in 30 seconds, a minute. so that when we respond, we're coming from a healed, neutral, loving, compassionate place that is still firm in boundaries. I'm going to choose to be the change. Someone also said the other day, honestly, I think it was probably my ex, I hate that my children don't communicate. Well, your children learn through observation the same way you learned through observation. So if you're expecting somebody to communicate with you, but you don't communicate, or you don't behave that way, if you want someone to respect you, but you don't respect yourself, if you want someone to communicate, but you don't communicate yourself, well, it's not going to happen. Because people learn how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. Can't say that enough. I wish someone would have told me that 20 years ago, 30 years ago. How much pain I would have saved myself. Okay. So what do we do here? How do we navigate the integration? So we allow, this is an unfoldment. We allow our life to unfold. We don't try to control. If you're in your head going, okay, I'm going to move to this new state. Okay, this is all the things that could go wrong. This could go wrong. This could go wrong. This could go wrong. This could go wrong. All right, let me find a solution for this and this, this, and this. That way, when I go, if any of those things happen, I have the answer. What a waste of energy. What a waste of mental time. What a waste. Allow it to unfold. Trust, have safety within yourself that you will know what to do when to do it when the time arises. That doesn't mean you can't make preparations. That doesn't mean you can't have goals and set up things, but it means that if there is a divine realignment, if there's erection, if this falls away, if something new shows up, if you get there and the whole thing falls apart, you're like, okay, this sucks, but this is what is meant to be right now. I trust that I can navigate this. What is this showing me? What's my next step? It's allowing. It's receiving the guidance. When you're driving a car at night, especially I live in a very rural place, it's going to be very dark here at night. And my headlights suck. So I can see maybe 3 feet ahead of me. Some of you with better headlights can see 6 feet ahead of you, right? That's all you can see. Do you stop driving because you can't see past 6 feet? No, you keep driving because you trust that you will see exactly what you need to drive safely. But we don't operate our lives the same way, do we? We want the big picture. We want to know what's happening in 6 feet, in a mile, in 10 miles. We want to know. Our ego wants to know. Do you see the difference? The same with being the change. A beautiful analogy came through me with my last client that I private mentor. And I said, you know, the leaders are the ones in the back. The leader is the last one in the pack. Everybody else is in front of her. And it's not that she's going around or he's going around and lighting everybody's torch and telling them each what to do. All the leader is doing is shining her light, her big or his big, beautiful light out so far and wide in front of them that all the people that are in front can now see. That's it. You're navigating them from behind the scenes. Your car is the last one in the pack. Everybody else's headlights are out and you're driving. Your light is allowing for them to see where they're going. But we often think that we got to be up front. And it is true, we go first. But we don't lead by running ahead of other people and going, hey, the light's over here. Sometimes we need to do that. But most of the time, it's people navigating to your light like flies or mosquitoes, right? They just find, oh, light. Oh, this person seems to know what they're doing. Let me get in their energy and go with them. So it's more important for you to be the change and to start embodying the values, the virtues, the behaviors, the emotional response, the beliefs of that in which a person who you that is going to sustain the wealth that you want. It's going to sustain the life that you want. What does that person have? How does that person live? How does that person believe? How does that person respond emotionally? You have to build your structure to be strong enough and wide enough and solid enough to sustain that of what you want. So that's the way it's allowing, receiving, reaping the rewards, right? So part of integration is reaping the rewards of all of that darkness you just walked through, all of that fire that you just went through. And determination. It's being determined. Because we all want it to be easy. And it's actually meant to be easy. It really is. Suffering is from self-obsession. Oh, I have anxiety. I used to think I had anxiety. Do you know what I really had? I was taking everything personally. Everything. And when you take the energy personally, anxiety is an abundance of energy, an excess of energy. And if you're just aware that there's an excess of energy, you can be like, yeah, I can feel it. It's thick. There's a lot of energy. I'm not real excited about it. I think I need some space. But when you're making it personal and taking it, meaning it about you, now, because you're taking it personal, what you're saying is, oh my God, I don't want to feel this. This is too much. This is overwhelming. And it's like, whoa, what resists will persist, right? It's a magnet. It's a magnet. So all of a sudden it's like energy, go towards her. She's the one that sees us and she's the one that's like, this is about me. And so it's like, okay, the universe is like, it's about her. Let's make it about her. Everybody, all energy towards Johanna. Go, 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 go. And now we're having full-blown panic attack. And now we can't breathe. And now we're in our head and we're going down the spiral and we're going into that negative feedback loop and we're going deeper and deeper and deeper into the well until it breaks. And we break the energy. So don't take it personal. Be determined. When things are challenging, show up. Show up for yourself. Don't quit. But if you're suffering, it's a different story. You need to say, what am I holding on to that isn't serving me? And maybe it's just the excess energy. Maybe it's just the fear. Maybe it is the very thing. You're like, oh, this really isn't the path. I need to let go of it. But you won't know if you're in the spiral. You won't know. You got to let go. And you got to say, I'm determined, but I need to see I'm suffering. So what am I attaching to? Suffering is attachment. What am I holding on to that's not serving? Is it the fear? Is it the judgment? Is it the rejection? Is it that this might not work? Is it whatever it is, just face it. Be with it. Sit with it. The ego desires versus good for all. We kind of touched upon that already, but in the integration part, there's going to be a lot of clarity that's going to start to come through, and you're going to start to see that, oh my God, there's all these new potentials. There's these new people. There's these new offerings. There's this new whatever it is. And your ego loves to desire things. Your ego really loves to stir things up. It likes to judge. It likes to be right. It likes to do all of these things. So if you are having difficulty in the new progress moving forward, you need to check yourself and say, am I really in the ego's desires, or am I considering what's for the good of all? And am I surrendering and saying this or something better, this or something better? Stop chasing, be present. Again, I used to chase my higher self all the time. I used to chase my desires. I felt like I was never where I was supposed to be. I'm behind. I'm not where I'm supposed to be in my life. And I did nothing but destroy my path and made my path. It's like my energy of chasing was like a jackhammer going on the road before my actual car hit it. So that when I went through it, or whoever was coming through it with me was like, oh my God, this is rough. I don't want to do this. Because I was charging ahead instead of being right here where I'm supposed to be. That doesn't mean you don't do anything and you're like, I'm just going to be here and the world will just guide me and take me where I'm supposed to go. That's part of it. But presence means I'm aware of how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, where I'm desiring. It's mindfulness is presence. It's being aware of all things, but not focusing on one thing. So stop chasing, be where you are. Because if you're going ahead of yourself, if you're trying to get ahead, if you're trying to go faster, if you're trying to be somewhere that you're not, or if you're replaying the past over and over and over again, if you're allowing your ego to go into the algorithm of the past and go through your filing system and be like, this is where she wants to go. This is what happened last time. Let me pull all those files. Let me scare the crap out of her so that she will then get in her mind and create all the scenarios to how to solve all those problems so that she doesn't repeat the cycle again, only to repeat the cycle again. So instead, realize that you have a time wound and go, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Spirit, guide me. Whatever your word is, God, source, spirit, whatever, guide me. How may I serve? How may I move forward? Show me. Come back to this moment. Stop chasing. Allow yourself to be guided. So this energy, again, it's going to be intense, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Intense, maybe you may start having these wild, vivid dreams. You may have your spiritual gifts beginning to open. You may have all these beautiful things that are intense, that do you feel very intensely, but are beautiful. Or you can see this through the negative lens and be like, great, more ascension symptoms. I'm going to be doing a whole series on TikTok soon about ascension and how to support the body. So know that that's coming as well. But we will have ascension symptoms. Remember, this ascension, the journey of awareness, spiritual awakening, however you want to label it, is very much a physical experience. Anybody who tells you different is bypassing. And by bypassing, I mean they only want to play in the higher frequencies. Our life is meant to be lived in totality. It's about transitioning. It's about moving, changing the density into light. Because you don't know where we're going. Some of you do. I know where we're going. I know the advancements of the body that we will have. I know where we're going. In order for that to happen, we have to transmute the density of all time and space that we chose to carry our load in this body of what we were going to work on. Carbon to crystalline, density to light. So the darker things look out in the world is actually good news. Why? Because if you've been following me for a little bit of time, I had started channeling the ancients in 2019, and in 2020, they really came forth and talked a lot about this karmic rising, this energy surfacing, like rising slowly up. So as it's rising for the earth, it's rising for us. And all of this karmic density of all time and space is coming to the surface. Remember, it's vending up through our system, up into our heart space. And the more intense it gets, the closer it is to our heart. The more intense it gets, the darker it is, the more up to the surface it is coming. Not for us to fight with it, not for us to be like, great, we're going backwards. Why is this happening? Politics, this, government, that, racism, sexism, whatever is coming up. The more it's seen, the more to the surface it's coming, so that we can see through that darkness and send compassion. In those moments when you're watching things on TV or social media and you're like, this is horrible, and you feel that in your body, recognize that right now you have a role to play. And that role is to open your heart, is to let the light in, is to say, I'm going to send love and compassion. I'm going to anchor the light right now into that space. That is what we're here to do. If you consider yourself a light worker, a way shower, when you see darkness, when you see adversity in the world, you're not meant to fight with it. You're not meant to call it out and tell the world, I told you so. Look at this. Look. It's about, I see it. I see the pain that is rising to the surface. I hear the limiting beliefs, the stories, the propaganda, the manipulation, the bullshit. I see it. I hear it. It is safe for us to let this go. I'm going to open my heart and I'm going to send that person, that thing, the world, compassion and grace. I'm going to let that wound be seen and heard. And through loving it, you integrate a piece of that karma that had risen to the surface. But if you keep fighting with it and you keep resisting it and you keep yelling at everybody, wake up, look at this. It's your fault. You're not looking at this. You're not seeing this. You're no better than them. And I have my moments too. I'm freaking human. I have my moments where I'm like, this is ridiculous, because it is. But I also know that it's happening for us. And that the only way to wake everybody up is for it to get so bad that people choose to stop being complacent and living in comfortable misery, and they decide to become the change that they want to see in the world. So my purpose in doing these updates isn't just to come on and give you a channeling or to read the astrology. My job is to help you navigate it, go from where you are to where you want to be, to help you understand the overarching energy that I am reading for the month of April and how you can best navigate it. You can take this information and these tools and you can leave with something tangible. It's my way of being of service and showing up every month and giving you my time and energy. So if you feel like there's somebody that needs to hear this or you want to share, please do so. I'm going to read through some of the comments and see if anybody has any questions. Let's see. Kayla, I think that's how you say your name. Feeling this now. She's in Canada, headed into another lockdown. That's okay. That's okay. I know there's a lot of countries that are locking down. That's okay. Find what you can do. Have fun and do what you can inside that, right? Find the potential and the limit. What is it showing you? Tanya, I need change. Allie, you're on the ball tonight, girl. Great to see you. I haven't been around for ages. Your energy has shifted. You're shining. Oh, thank you so much. Vanessa says, yes, there's definitely moments when my ego wants to know 10 miles ahead. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, everybody has, we all have that. And it's not about quieting the ego. It's not about ignoring the ego. It's not about shutting the ego up. You know, in Reclamation, in my course Reclamation, I do what's called parts work. And I go really deep into helping you understand that every time you've resisted or rejected or separated or abandoned a part of yourself because you didn't want to feel something, you created it's like you took a piece of your energy, a piece of the pie, and you moved it over here. So you could feel like there's a hole inside of you. You can feel like you're broken and you can feel like it's right there, but you don't know how to put it back. And it's because you're not listening to and nurturing those aspects inside of you. Instead, you're bullying them and abandoning them and judging yourself and shaming yourself and guilting yourself. So this is why the frequencies and all the things that I teach are such an intricate part of everything I do, because it's like you have to be able to honor those parts of you and to bring that family back into union. So many people talk about twin flames, right? This is not about two souls coming into union. It's about you coming into union with all of yourself. So let me just scroll. If anybody has any other questions on YouTube or Facebook, you can drop them. I'm just going to scroll through TikTok. Last time I missed a bunch of comments and I felt pretty bad about it. So I'm going to take my time here. Look at all these beautiful people who are on. Thank you so much for showing up. Salt King calls. What? I don't know why that's not here nor there, so we're not going to go into that. I'm always trying To live in light and love. I'm an empath, extremely intuitive and very sensitive to others. So that's I'm glad you brought that up. I actually have a lot of trainings and insight on my YouTube channel that you can dive into on being an empowered empath. I don't believe in energy protection. This is something I'm very vocal about because I am you, you are me. So if you are feeling like it is a hindrance to be an empath and to be sensitive, I am extremely sensitive. I'm sensitive to the planets. I'm sensitive to other people. I'm sensitive to all the energy. And if you're doing energy protection, what you're saying is I don't want to feel something, so I'm going to protect myself. And that's the energy of resistance. And people don't like that I speak this because they think that they need to protect themselves. And if that's you, that's okay. You can be where you are. I'm not going to judge you. Protect the way. But what I'm telling you is from the universal perspective, from the laws of the universe, I am you and you are me. There is no separation. So your job is to learn where your energy ends and where someone else's begins. This is why we enmesh. This is why we lose ourselves in relationships. I've done it 3 times. I know all about it. So you have to learn you have to develop your boundaries. You have to develop your structure so that it's so defined that you know yourself so well that when that other energy comes in, doesn't mean you don't feel it anymore, but you're very discerning. You're like, okay, I feel that that's not mine. Now that I know how that person feels, they're angry, they're sad, they're sick, whatever it is, I can send them compassion. I can say, oh, this isn't mine, but I can now be compassionate or empathize with them and where they are on their journey and be a little kinder to them, even if they're being a jerk, even if they're being ridiculous. Now, again, boundaries doesn't mean that you sit there and take it, but it does mean, what do? You have compassion and you say, listen, I'm not going to be treated this way. And I send you lots of love, but I'm going to excuse myself now, right? Where it means you know that when you go into these certain situations that you need to be very much in your power and in your energy and not trying to, because this is the thing, the whole narcissist empath relationship, right? Why do empaths feel what everybody else is feeling? Does anybody know? What is the power of that? Why do we feel that? There's a specific reason. Oftentimes what happens is you leave yourself open and you want to feel that energy because then you know how to navigate it, if that person's safe or what to do. If you take on that pain for them, especially empathic children, they take on the pain of their parents. Their parents are wearing the mask of, we're okay, there's no problems here. We're not drowning in debt and hating each other. They wear that mask of life is good. And the kids are like, oh, we're not stupid. Kids are closer to source than we are. You think they don't know what they want. You think that they don't know how to take care of themselves. They know exactly what they want and when they want it. They just can't communicate it because they haven't learned how to operate their human suit yet. So what do? They take on the pain of mom and dad because it's easier for them to take that pain off and make their parents happy, because when their parents are happy, then they're safe. So empaths, what do? You take on emotional pain and you say, I'm going to take this on because then that person will be happy. And that means I'm safe. They're not going to be an angry outburst. They're not going to project onto me. But guess what? It's not how it works. It's like them. You're saying, you know what? That suitcase that you're carrying with all that pain, I'm going to take that. And then you set it down. You're like, let's go. I'm going to take your pain. It's easier this way. And you look and you're like, how did you get another suitcase? Where'd that come from? Well, since you didn't teach them and they didn't learn how to transmute their pain, their wounds, their beliefs, it just returned. So now you've taken it on and theirs just regenerated. So you just cause suffering within yourself for no damn reason. So stop doing it. Learn boundaries and discernment. This is why everything I do includes these basic teachings. Because when you discern, now you can be wide open empath, super sensitive, and walk through a concert and be like, in your grace, in your love, in your light, and not affected by any of it. It's not that you don't feel it, but you're like, yeah, that's not mine. I return with love. Not mine, return with love. So empath, sensitivity, not an excuse. Take responsibility. Lots of love and compassion when I say this. I went through it. I had to do it. Take responsibility. learn discernment, learn true boundaries. Let's see. Anything else that's relevant? I don't think so. If I missed anything and you're on TikTok, you can go into the Q&A and type your question and I might be able to get back to it. So that's the energy of April. I hope this is a little bit longer broadcast than I usually do. So I hope that you received all that you needed from this to help you navigate the energies of April. Please stay present. Please stay in the energy of discernment. Please allow yourself to feel whatever's coming up for you. And if you hit a limit, if you hit a wall, if you hit a block, get excited. Let yourself know that this is not a bad thing. This is exactly what's standing in the way between me and my potential. And if you need guidance, if you need assistance, if you desire it, you can reach out to me. You can head to my website. I have my calendar, you guys, this is the big announcement, is back open on a very limited basis for single sessions. So if you want to be someone who scores a session with me, you can head over to my website and figure that out. I just now reopened my calendar. So again, it's on a very limited basis. So you may be pushed out a little ways in the future, and it's okay. So just so you know, there's lots of options from free resources to paid ones. I have the full spectrum, the full gamut. I'm here to support and guide you if you desire it. And I hope that each and every one of you has the most transformational month that allows you to navigate into your wildest potentials. I love you guys. Thank you for joining.